Doug Stebleton is with us here today, and we were just talking off air about the fact that he's from a town in Montana called Glasgow, which I think is quite incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's actually named after Glasgow, Scotland, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Merry Christmas to you, and welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thank you. Same to you.
Well, thank you. Now, you've got a new book which you've co-written called It's a Wonderful Time, and it's all about going back in time to It's a Wonderful Life, kind of, right?
Yeah, the best way to describe the book is Back to the Future meets Midnight in Paris on the set of It's a Wonderful Life. So it's a historical fiction time travel movie, and and it's an homage to my favorite movie, which is It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, and that's incredible because a lot of people would say it's their favourite Christmas movie, but for you, it's just your favourite movie.
Yeah, it's just it's something about that movie. I've always loved it. It's one of my favorite, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and because it's from 1946, and that's a long time ago compared to most films, do you feel it still holds up and is relevant to today, maybe?
It is, actually. I hadn't seen it for about 5 years, and I watched it about, I don't know, maybe a week ago, and yeah, it still holds up. It's still a great movie, and it's just it is a lot of, deals with suicide. The guy's going to commit suicide because his uncle lost all that money. So there's a lot of deals with despair and a lot of things that people still deal with today. But it has such a great happy ending,
Oh yeah, absolutely. So how did you manage to get your historical knowledge for the year of 1946 to put in the book?
Well, since it's my favorite movie, I knew a lot about the movie. I'd done a lot of research. I originally wrote it as a movie script, and then about 2 years ago decided might not never get the script done. I mean, the movie done, so I knew I could do it as a book, so I made it into a novel. But yeah, I did a lot of research of reading books and about that time period right after the war, 1 year after the war, and that's the reason I picked 46 is because that's the year they made It's a Wonderful Life, the movie.
Yeah, that's something I've never really thought about, actually, that it must have been kind of weird making a movie so soon after the war.
Yeah, there was still a lot of movies being made during those 4 years of that America was in the war. But Jimmy Stewart was actually a bomber pilot, a B-24 bomber pilot, and he had come back right after, in I think maybe October or something like that, in 45, and this was his first movie after he got back, and as well as Frank Capra's, who was the director, was both their first movie together.
Yeah. And did you do any research on these people, like Jimmy Stewart and Frank Capra? I take it you did in order to know that.
Well, I already knew a lot of it, but yeah, I had to do even more research as I was, trying to get things in the book. And we in the script, we didn't deal with Jimmy Stewart's coming back from the war as much in the book. I mean, we did a little bit in the book. We delved a little deeper because he had PTSD, I think he flew 20 combat missions, and lost a lot of his guys. And so some of the dark scenes, that he did in the movie, It's Wonderful Life, he was kind of pulling from his real experiences from the war, those 3 or 4 years before. So
yeah.
So
what gave you the idea to write a book about It's a Wonderful Life in the first place then?
Well, I used to work in Hollywood, or I used to live in Hollywood, and I used to drive this big executive at NBC. And one time I was driving past this pedestrian walkway that goes underneath the 101 freeway, and about 8 years after I found out what it was, I just thought it'd be cool if somebody was getting chased out of Hollywood and they get in a car wreck and they ran through that underground walkway underneath the 101 freeway and went through a time warp. And it was present day, but they ended up, 50, 60 years in the past in Hollywood. Same exact place, but 50 years. At this time, when I wrote it in 93, it was 50 years in the past. And that was the whole, basically, origin of the movie script. That's how it started, yeah.
Yeah. Now, as well as this film, do you have any other favourite Christmas films that you like to watch at this time of year?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I like some of the standard ones. Miracle on 34th Street. I love Elf. It's a standard these years. These days, the one with what's the guy?
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. That's a funny movie. So I don't know. I personally love Christmas. Being from Montana, we always had white Christmases, and I grew up in a good family, so we always celebrated it. So, yeah, I just love any movies that are about Christmas.
Yeah, everyone seems to say Elf. I don't know why. I guess it must just be a good film.
It is. It's a funny film, yeah. And so, if nobody's seen it, I I suggest taking a look at it. It's pretty funny.
Yes. So what's next for the series of these books? Have you got any more films that you're going to try?
Yeah, the plan is this first book is called It's a Wonderful Time.
Yeah.
But it's based off a new series I created called the Hollywood Time Travel series. So It's a Wonderful Time will be book 1. And right now I'm doing research. I'm reading some books on MGM and Hollywood in a certain era, a certain decade. I won't say what decade, but I'm just having to do a lot of research. And Reinhard and I will start writing our second book, yes, right after the first of the year in January and February.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the name of if people are interested, the website is hollywoodtimetravel.com, and they can get all the information about the book there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, is that where we can find the book? And I take it it's on like Amazon and stuff like that, yeah?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Is the best place to find it because it's been up there since October when the book came out. But yeah, you can go to hollywoodtimetravel.com and click a link to get to Amazon, or you can go directly to Amazon and just go to the search bar and type in It's a Wonderful Time, and it'll come up. And it is on Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
It can be found on there also on their website.
Yeah. And I take it even though it's about a Christmas film, is this a book that you can really read all year round? Because you released it in October, so maybe.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, the movie takes place in Christmas, It's a Wonderful Life, but the book is not necessarily about Christmas or takes place during Christmas. But the movie, the set of the movie, it's a big part of the book because he goes back during the making of the actual movie, which was in April to July of 1946. Yeah. So, but yeah, you can read it anytime. It's just if you like, like I said, historical fiction, time travel stuff, Back to the Future. I think people will like the story because it's kind of fun and it's kind of neat to see 1946 Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show this afternoon, and have a great Christmas.
Thanks, Toby. I appreciate it. You too.